О, Дацлавка!
Доброго дня. Thanks. Нема за що. Давай.
This is our second gathering last Wednesday, and we thought this is it, but it doesn't look like. Today we are here again to support democratic process in Ukraine. We are big community, Ukrainian Canadian community. Out of 33 million Canadian population, 1.2 million have Ukrainian background. Here in Saskatoon and Saskatchewan, 14% of people have Ukrainian background as well. And it doesn't matter what nationality you are, everybody's still in some way related to Ukraine.
Переживань і спокус із боку світу, диявола і його слуг, він міг завжди зберегти небесне світло віри, що перемагав всілякі труднощі, перебуваючи у добрі, і завжди належав до благословенного Твого Божого царства.
Branch strongly condemns the deplorable use of violence by Ukrainian authorities against peaceful protesters at the Independence Square in Kiev that left dozens of civilians seriously injured. The people of Ukraine have the right to demonstrate peacefully and have their voices heard without fear of retribution. They have the right to challenge a government that is not acting in their best interest. The Ukrainian Canadian community here in Saskatoon and across the country stand united with the people of Ukraine and their desire for democracy and integration into the European Union. We pray for the safety of our families and friends in Ukraine during this difficult and dangerous time. Thank you for joining us today to show your support for a free and democratic Ukraine. Дякую.
Why are we here? Why are you here? No doubt many of your colleagues at work asked that question about when you said that you're going to the Maidan Saskatoon. Why are you going? Some of you responded by saying, I'm concerned. I'm concerned about my relations in the homeland. I'm concerned about my brothers and sisters. I'm concerned for my fathers and mothers. I'm concerned for Ukraine. That's both right. That's both natural. And in many ways, it's the reason you're here. But I think that you're here for other reasons. I think you're here because in many ways you understand the history of Ukraine. And you also understand that it has been a long and arduous process of struggle. And that there have been generations who've come before us who in many ways stood in defense of freedom and the rights of people to determine their own destiny. You are here, I think, because in many ways you're in support of a nation's right to choose. The question of Ukraine's destiny was not yesterday. It wasn't an issue the day before that, a week before that, or a month before that. It's been years in the making, arguably centuries in the making. Ukraine has been on the periphery of Europe for 300 years. And in the last 100 years was very much behind a curtain that drew a shadow across its people. Today, Ukrainians gathered in the Maidan and across Ukraine in the various squares, municipal, villages, and elsewhere, to make the case that as a people, they wish to determine their own destiny. We are here, we're gathered here in support of that right for peoples to determine their own destiny, their own history, their own future. This is, I think, a right that we all both understand. We all understand that it is needed now at a time in Ukraine's hour of need. But we're also here in support of something much deeper, and that is for a people's right to determine their own history, to speak up and say this is the choice we are making. There are those in Ukraine who've taken up the cudgel, the truncheon, and who have invited criminals and thugs to do their bidding in order to silence a people's right to determine their destiny. This is a right that we both understand and cherish here in Canada. It's both a right that we understand has universal application. We are here today in support of the universal right of self-expression, of association, and ultimately in the decision to decide where and how Ukraine will determine its future. So in answer to that question, why are you here? You are here in support of a people's right to choose, and in support of those who've gathered in the face of coercion, of aggression, in defense of a right that we both understand and cherish. Their struggle is our struggle, and for that we are thankful. Slava Ukraini, Slava Heroyam Майдану.
They might not have been old enough to realize what that word really means, and now they're having the chance for their voice to actually be heard, but they're struggling, and we as Canadians, as Ukrainian Canadians, need to help them out. We need to help those whose voices are struggling to be heard. With all this social media that's happening right now through Facebook and Twitter, it's almost our duty to raise awareness to our friends, to our community, and to the country about what's happening over there. We need to let people know what's going on, which is obviously the reason that we're here today. So as Ukrainians and as Ukrainian members in this community, we wish them their freedom to express their rights. I mean, to live in a developed country, to have their voice, to let their voice be heard, and to have the right to fight for the country that they live in. I mean, we need to encourage each other, not just the Ukrainian community, but people in Saskatoon and around the country to unite, because a people united will not, and I think cannot, be defeated. Thank you.
Ми сила! Разом! Ми сила! Разом! Ми сила! We are strong and we together.